Hello, my name is Iris Lopez, and I'm going to be talking about things that we have discussed in class. In class, we have focused talking a lot about feminism, its first, second, and third wave, and intersectionality. We know that feminism first began around the 1980s, and we have read many different authors who focus on feminism and its cause. One of these authors is Kate Chopin with Story of an Hour. One of the main themes that she represents is marriage as an oppression institution. Here's a quote that says, "She said it over and over under her breath: free, free, free. Free, body and soul free," she kept whispering. So this quote just tells us about how this woman, the main character in the story, feels about her marriage and finding out that her husband has passed. These are her emotions. She feels that she's finally free from a marriage that she didn't want to be in the first place. Another author that we have read in class is Maxine Hong Kingston. In No Name Woman, she quotes, "In 1924, just a few days after our village celebrated 17 hurry-up weddings to make sure that every young man who went out on the road would responsibly come home." And in this quote, she's talking about a theme such as marriage secures cultural tradition. So we know that back in the days, a lot of people would get married just for tradition, and therefore, as she says, there was 17 hurry-up weddings. So these weddings weren't even planned. They never looked into it. They just got married for the sake of getting married because that's what tradition demanded, and because they wanted these men to come back, and them having a family or a wife to come back to would force them to come back home. And then we also have Gloria Anzaldúa, which in her Movimientos de Rebeldía y las Culturas que Traicionan, she talks about how women only had three choices back in the day, or three directions, which was to either become a nun, a housewife, or a prostitute. And back in the day, it was like, okay, you have to decide between these three options that society would give you. Either you become a nun and devote yourself to religion, or you become a housewife and devote yourself to your husband, or you become a prostitute, which is still basically devoting yourself to men. And in all of these directions, women are still devoting themselves to someone or a male figure who is there to tell them what to do, when to do it, and why. And she talks about how there was also a fourth option that no one would really talk about and everyone saw as a bad thing, which was getting an education and becoming self-autonomous, which was what she did: get an education and live a life for herself and fight for her rights as a woman. In class, we have learned many different skills. Thanks to this class, I have learned to make outlines that help me put my ideas together and in order. And therefore, when I write my essays, all my ideas are in place. I have a clear ground of what my thesis is, and I know in what order or chronological order I want to put out my ideas to my readers and have an organized essay. Also, thanks to Grammar Geeks, I learned about the importance of cohesion and how to use it. I have an example which I wrote in one of my essays, and this is my example. Martin Luther King Jr. talks about the injustices, economic injustices, direct action, just and unjust laws, and expresses his feelings towards the different churches and the response to the civil rights movement. Specifically, he hopes to strike a feeling within the readers to prove that they are not what he claims them to be in his letter. Thus, he uses ethos and pathos to make the readers, these being the leaders of the white church, support his movement in order to prove that they have moral values and can tell between right from wrong, just and unjust. Consequently, he hopes to gain their support and convert them into allies towards his movement as a civil rights activist. And thanks to Grammar Geeks and Cohesion, I learned to use words such as specifically, thus, and consequently to put my sentences together and therefore have a good paragraph structure. Thank you.